The golden light from the chandeliers at the Grand Plaza Hotel did nothing to warm the cold stares of my family as I walked into my father's retirement party. 40 years at Harrison Industries was coming to an end, and everyone who mattered in the business world was there to celebrate, except apparently me. "You're late," my mother said, smoothing her designer dress. "And couldn't you have worn something more appropriate?" I glanced down at my simple black dress, a custom Chanel that probably cost more than her entire wardrobe, not that she'd recognize that. "Sorry, work ran late," I replied quietly, taking my seat at the far end of the family table. My sister Amanda, perfectly coiffed in her CFO attire, barely contained her smirk. "Still pushing papers at that consulting firm?" she asked, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. "What was it called again? Summit something." "Stellar Solutions," I corrected, thinking about the email I'd received just hours ago. The one confirming that my small consulting firm had just secured enough shares to take control of Harrison Industries. My father's voice boomed from the podium. "When I started this company, I had nothing but determination and vision." He paused for appreciative applause. "Now, as I step down, I'm proud to announce that my daughter Amanda will be taking over as CEO." More applause. More knowing looks. After all, everyone knew the story. The golden child who followed in daddy's footsteps versus the disappointment who walked away from the family business 5 years ago to find herself. If they only knew that while they were busy patting themselves on the back, I'd built Stellar Solutions into a silent giant in the industry. That their beloved family company had been hemorrhaging money for years, their contracts slipping away one by one to more innovative competitors, specifically, to shell companies I controlled. My phone buzzed. My secretary's name flashed on the screen. I excused myself, ignoring Amanda's loud whisper. Probably another entry-level crisis. In the quiet of the hallway I took the call. "Ms. Harrison, the final papers are ready. With this morning's share purchase, we now control 51% of Harrison Industries. We can proceed whenever you're ready." I looked back through the doorway. My father was telling his favorite story about how Amanda had shown her business genius by selling lemonade at age 6. The same story he told the day I left, when he said I'd never amount to anything in business. "Perfect timing," I said into the phone. "Have everything ready for tomorrow's shareholders meeting. It's time they learned who's really been running things." "Of course, ma'am. Will you be revealing yourself as CEO tonight?" I watched Amanda bask in the attention, my parents beaming with pride. "No," I replied. "Let them enjoy their party. Tomorrow will be soon enough." Back at the table, my mother was discussing Amanda's upcoming spread in Business Weekly. "Youngest female CEO in the industry," she gushed. "We always knew she was destined for greatness." I took a sip of champagne, thinking about the board meeting scheduled for 9 a.m. tomorrow. About the look on their faces when they realized that while they were celebrating Amanda's rise to power, I'd already taken control. "And what about you, dear?" My mother's voice dripped with familiar disappointment. "Still handling basic client reports?" I smiled, fingering the CEO keycard in my pocket. "Actually, I have a pretty big meeting tomorrow. You might even read about it in Business Weekly." They laughed, the same condescending laugh I'd heard for 5 years. Let them laugh. In less than 24 hours, they'd learn exactly what kind of business empire their failure daughter had built. The morning of the shareholders' meeting dawned bright and clear. I stood in my real office, the penthouse suite of the Stellar Solutions Tower, adjusting my power suit and watching Harrison Industries headquarters through the floor-to-ceiling windows. From here I could see my father's reserved parking spot, where Amanda's new Mercedes already gleamed in the early sunlight. My secretary, Maria, entered with a thick folder. "Everything's prepared, Ms. Harrison. The board members have all arrived early, eager to welcome their new CEO." She paused, a slight smile playing on her lips. "Your sister's been practicing her acceptance speech in the conference room for the past hour." I checked my watch. 8:45 a.m. "Have our lawyers confirmed the share transfer?" "Yes, ma'am." As of 8 a.m. this morning, Stellar Solutions officially controls 51% of Harrison Industries. The remaining shareholders have all been quietly informed of the change in leadership. Only your family remains unaware. I thought about last night's retirement party, about Amanda's smug confidence and my parents' dismissive glances. For 5 years, they'd believed I was barely surviving at a small consulting firm, too proud to come crawling back to the family business. They never knew that while Amanda was playing CEO in Daddy's office, I was building something far bigger. Every client Harrison Industries lost, every contract that mysteriously went to a competitor, all carefully orchestrated through my network of shell companies. Ms. Harrison, Maria interrupted my thoughts. Your father just arrived. He's gathering the board for Amanda's announcement. I picked up my briefcase containing the documents that would shatter their carefully planned succession. Let's not keep them waiting. The Harrison Industries boardroom was exactly as I remembered, all mahogany and leather, reeking of old money and older egos. Through the glass walls I could see Amanda holding court, my father beaming beside her. Security called up, Maria whispered. They're confused about whether to stop you. Your old access codes are still valid. Of course they are, I smiled. Dad never bothered to change them. He probably forgot I ever worked here. At exactly 9 a.m. I pushed open the boardroom doors. The conversation stopped abruptly. Emily. My father's voice mixed confusion with annoyance. What are you doing here? This is a private board meeting. Amanda stepped forward, straightening her designer jacket. Security will escort you out. This is an important day for the company. We can't have any disruptions. Actually, I said, opening my briefcase, I'm exactly where I need to be. I nodded to Maria, who began distributing folders to the board members. Shall we begin discussing the change in ownership? Change in. My father grabbed one of the folders, his face paling as he read. This is impossible. These shares. Stellar Solutions. This can't be right. Oh, but it is, I said, taking my seat at the head of the table, his old seat. As of this morning, Stellar Solutions owns controlling interest in Harrison Industries. And as CEO of Stellar, I'm afraid there will be some changes to today's agenda. Amanda snatched the papers from our father's trembling hands. CEO? You're just a junior consultant. This is some kind of joke. I pulled up the company financials on the boardroom screen. Do these look like a joke, sister dear? While you were practicing your speeches, I was building an empire. Every client you lost, every contract that slipped away, they all came to me through one subsidiary or another. The room erupted in chaos. Board members whispered among themselves. My father slumped in his chair, his retirement party triumph forgotten. Amanda's perfectly composed facade cracked as she frantically flipped through the documentation. But the company profile, she stammered. Stellar Solutions is just a small consulting firm. A carefully crafted image, I corrected her. Sometimes the best way to build real power is to let others underestimate you. Isn't that right, Dad? Isn't that what you always taught Amanda while telling me I'd never understand business? My mother burst into the boardroom, her face flushed with panic. Clearly, someone had called her about the unexpected turn of events. Emily, what have you done? What have I done? I stood slowly, commanding the room's attention. I've built something extraordinary while you were all busy dismissing me. Stellar Solutions doesn't just control Harrison Industries. We own controlling interests in 12 other major corporations, all acquired while maintaining the appearance of a modest consulting firm. I clicked to the next slide, displaying Stellar's true organizational chart. The board members leaned forward, their expressions shifting from shock to reluctant admiration as they saw the full scope of my company's holdings. Our annual revenue, I continued calmly, is triple what Harrison Industries made in its best year. And that was before today's acquisition. Acquisition. My father found his voice, though it trembled slightly. You can't just walk in here and take my company. Your company? I raised an eyebrow. The company you were about to hand to Amanda, despite the fact that she's lost more major clients in the past year than in the entire previous decade? The company that's been secretly struggling while she focused more on magazine covers than market strategy. Amanda's face flushed red. That's not fair. I've worked hard, Dash. Hard. I cut her off. Let's talk about hard work. I pulled up another document on the screen. These are the hours I put in building Stellar Solutions. 18-hour days, 7 days a week, while you were attending charity galas and practicing your CEO pose for photographers. Maria stepped forward with another set of documents. The restructuring plans, Ms. Harrison. Thank you, Maria. I distributed the papers myself this time, enjoying the way my family flinched at each movement. You'll find detailed plans for Harrison Industries' future. There will be changes, of course. Starting with leadership. You're firing us? Amanda's voice cracked. Firing you? No, dear sister. I'm offering you a chance to learn what real business leadership means. You can stay on as a junior executive, if you're willing to actually earn your position for once. My father stood up abruptly, his face purple with rage. Now see here, Dash. No, Dad, you see here. I met his gaze steadily. For years you told me I wasn't cut out for business. That I didn't have what it takes to succeed in your world. Well, welcome to my world now. One where success is built on innovation and hard work, not family names and country club connections. The board members were nodding now, several already reaching for their phones to spread the news. My mother sank into a chair, her perfect composure crumbling as she realized the magnitude of what was happening. The papers need to be signed today, I continued, pulling out one final document. Unless, of course, you'd prefer I start investigating some of the more questionable decisions made during Amanda's brief tenure as CFO? My sister went pale. We both knew what I'd find, the covered-up losses, the manipulated reports, all the things she'd hidden to maintain her image as the perfect successor. You wouldn't, she whispered. We're family. I smiled, remembering all the family dinners where they'd mocked my career choices, all the times they'd dismissed my achievements as insignificant. Yes, we are family. And now, finally, we're going to do business like family should, honestly, ethically, and without pretense. Now, I took my seat at the head of the table again. Shall we discuss the future of Harrison Industries? Or should I say, the newest addition to the Stellar Solutions portfolio? The news of Harrison Industries' acquisition spread through the business world like wildfire. By lunchtime, my face was on every financial news website, the hidden titan, who'd built a business empire in plain sight. The headlines wrote themselves: Overlooked Daughter Takes Control, the Emily Harrison story. I sat in what was once my father's office, now mine, going through years of financial records. The real state of Harrison Industries was worse than I'd imagined. Amanda's mismanagement had run deeper than anyone knew. A soft knock at the door interrupted my review. Come in. My mother entered, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. Gone was the imperious woman who'd criticized my every choice. Emily, can we talk? I gestured to the chair across from me. About what, Mom? About how you never believed in me. Or about how you let Dad and Amanda convince you I was a failure. She sat, smoothing her skirt, a nervous habit I remembered from childhood. I was wrong. We were all wrong about you. Yes, you were. I closed the laptop, giving her my full attention. Do you know what hurt the most? Not the criticism or the mockery. It was that none of you ever bothered to actually look at what I was building. You were so convinced I was nothing that you didn't even notice when I started acquiring your biggest competitors. Tears formed in her eyes. Your father. He's not taking this well. He's talking about fighting the takeover. He can try, I replied calmly. But every transaction was legal, every share purchase documented. I learned from watching him after all. The importance of doing everything by the book. And Amanda? I pulled out a file. She's been in her office all morning, probably destroying evidence of her creative accounting. But we already have copies of everything. You're not going to press charges? That depends on her. I stood and walked to the window looking out over the city. I'm offering her a chance to learn the business properly from the ground up. No shortcuts, no special treatment. The same offer extends to Dad, though I doubt his pride will let him accept. A longer silence followed. Finally, my mother spoke again, her voice barely a whisper. When did you become so powerful? I turned back to face her. I always was, Mom. You just never saw it. I picked up a framed photo from my father's retirement party, taken just yesterday. You were all so busy looking down on me that you never bothered to look up and see how far I'd climbed. What happens now? Now. I sat back down, pulling out the company's new organizational chart. Now we rebuild Harrison Industries into something stronger. No more nepotism, no more covering up mistakes. Real merit-based leadership. My phone buzzed, Maria texting that Amanda was finally ready to talk. Excuse me, Mom. I have a meeting with my sister. Emily. She stopped at the door. I know it's too late, but I'm proud of you. I looked at her for a long moment. Thank you, But I didn't do this for your pride. I did it because none of you believed I could. After she left, I stood at the window again, watching the sun set over my expanded empire. Yesterday they'd called me a failure at Dad's retirement party. Today they learned who really controlled their fate. My phone buzzed again. More headlines. Emily Harrison, the silent CEO who built a business empire while her family wasn't looking. I smiled, remembering my father's words from years ago. You'll never understand real business, Emily. He was right about one thing. I didn't understand his version of business, built on privilege and appearances. Instead, I'd created something better, stronger, and more honest. Maria entered with more papers to sign. Your sister's waiting, Ms. Harrison. And the board wants to schedule an emergency session to discuss the transition. Tell them I'll be there shortly. I took one last look at the retirement party photo before dropping it into the drawer. It's time to show them how real business is done.